Have you ever wondered why millions of Canadians are quietly leaving the country they once called home? On the surface, Canada is painted as a land of opportunity, safety, and comfort, but behind the headlines lies a reality few are willing to talk about. From sky-high living costs to hidden struggles in healthcare, jobs, and safety, the reasons may shock you. Stick around as we uncover the 10 hidden truths that are driving this silent exodus, truths that could change the way you see Canada forever. You won't want to miss what comes next. Number 10, Quality of Life Expectations. For many Canadians, the decision to leave isn't driven by one single factor, but by the slow realization that the quality of life they imagined no longer matches the reality. Canada is often promoted as a land of opportunity, safety, and comfort, yet everyday experiences are causing people to question whether that promise is still true. One of the biggest disappointments comes from the gap between expectation and reality. Immigrants arrive with dreams of affordable housing, excellent healthcare, and strong job prospects, only to face overcrowded rental markets, long medical wait times, and wages that feel stagnant compared to the cost of living. Locals, too, are discovering that the lifestyle their parents enjoyed, owning a home, raising a family, and saving for retirement, is slipping further out of reach. The weight of constant financial stress also erodes the sense of freedom many Canadians hoped for. Instead of focusing on family time, travel, or hobbies, more households are consumed with juggling bills, debt, and basic survival. This creates a daily reality where comfort feels like a privilege rather than a standard of living. Another factor is work-life balance. Canadians often face long commutes, extended working hours, and fewer vacation days compared to people in European nations. When citizens see that other countries value leisure, wellness, and family time more strongly, the comparison becomes hard to ignore. Even social expectations add pressure. For some, the feeling of community and togetherness is weakening, replaced by individual struggles and growing divisions. Without that sense of belonging, even the most beautiful landscapes lose their meaning. This leads to a critical turning point, realizing that life elsewhere may not only be more affordable but also more fulfilling. Imagine relocating to a country where housing is attainable, healthcare is accessible, and cultural life is vibrant. Suddenly the dream feels alive again. Ultimately, the quality of life is about more than income or status. It's about security, balance, and the chance to truly enjoy the years ahead. When Canadians feel these expectations are consistently unmet, the decision to start fresh abroad becomes less of a risk and more of a necessity. Number 9, Better Opportunities Abroad. While Canada offers stability, many citizens are realizing that better opportunities abroad are simply too appealing to ignore. From higher salaries and faster career growth to improved lifestyles, other countries are actively drawing Canadians away with promises that feel difficult to match at home. For professionals, the difference is striking. A nurse in the United States can earn significantly more than in Canada, with additional benefits and less waiting for career advancement. Tech workers often find themselves recruited by companies in Silicon Valley or Europe, where innovation hubs provide not only better pay but also access to global networks. Even skilled tradespeople discover that countries like Australia or New Zealand offer attractive salaries and more respect for their work. Entrepreneurs also feel the pull. In Canada, small businesses face high taxes, strict regulations, and expensive overhead costs. By contrast, many international destinations provide incentives, lower taxes, and simplified processes, allowing businesses to thrive faster. For ambitious Canadians, this creates a sense of possibility they don't feel at home. Education is another motivator. Families often look abroad to countries that offer world-class universities, stronger scholarship programs, or lower tuition fees compared to Canadian institutions. Parents see these moves as investments in their children's future, opening doors to careers on a global stage. Lifestyle also plays a key role. Countries with lower living costs, better climates, or stronger work-life balance models attract those tired of the grind. Imagine trading long Canadian winters and rising expenses for affordable seaside living in Portugal, or vibrant urban life in Germany. The chance to stretch income further while enjoying cultural richness makes leaving Canada feel less like a loss and more like an upgrade. At its core, the search for opportunity is about hope and progress. Canadians are not leaving because they dislike their homeland, they're leaving because they see doors open elsewhere. When another country offers more growth, freedom, and potential, the choice becomes clear. For many, seizing opportunity abroad is not just tempting, it's the smartest path toward a brighter, more fulfilling future. Number 8. Political and social tensions. Another force quietly pushing Canadians to leave is the rise of political and social tensions. Once seen as a model of harmony and inclusivity, Canada is now experiencing growing divides that leave many citizens feeling frustrated, unheard, and uncertain about the country's future. One source of tension is the polarization of politics. From debates about climate policies and economic priorities to disagreements over immigration and cultural identity, conversations are becoming increasingly heated. Instead of uniting communities, politics is often creating deeper divides. Families and neighbors who once shared respectful discussions now find themselves clashing over values, policies, and the direction of the nation. For many, the sense of being misrepresented or ignored by government leaders is adding to this frustration. Citizens feel that decisions are often made without considering the struggles of ordinary people, whether it's about housing, healthcare, or the cost of living. When leaders seem disconnected, people lose faith in the system meant to serve them. Social tensions also extend to everyday life. Issues around freedom of speech, cultural debates, and identity politics have created an atmosphere where many feel they must walk on eggshells. While Canada has always been proud of its multicultural image, the reality is that not everyone feels equally respected or understood in these discussions. This climate of division has real consequences. Some Canadians feel their values no longer align with the environment around them, leading to a desire to seek places where stability, unity, and open dialogue feel stronger. Others simply want to escape the constant noise of arguments that dominate media and politics. For immigrants who came seeking peace and tolerance, the discovery of these hidden divisions can be deeply disappointing. The dream of Canada as a calm, welcoming nation begins to fade when everyday life feels marked by conflict and tension. Ultimately, people long for a sense of belonging and community. When political and social polarization chips away at that foundation, the appeal of a fresh start in a country with fewer divides becomes increasingly powerful. For many Canadians, this growing tension is a quiet but decisive reason to leave. Number 7. Rising crime and safety concerns. Canada has long been known as one of the safest countries in the world, but many citizens are beginning to feel that this reputation no longer matches reality. Over the past decade, concerns about rising crime rates and neighborhood safety have quietly grown, making some Canadians reconsider whether this is the place they want to raise their families. Property crimes such as break-ins, car thefts, and shoplifting are climbing, particularly in major cities. For homeowners, the idea of waking up to find their vehicle stolen or their home targeted creates constant anxiety. Even public spaces that once felt secure are now being watched with caution. Families who used to leave their doors unlocked now invest in expensive security systems, a visible sign of shifting trust in their communities. Urban centers like Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary have also seen an increase in violent incidents tied to gangs, drugs, and random assaults. While crime rates in Canada may still be lower than in some countries, the perception of safety is eroding. People no longer feel comfortable letting their children walk home alone or using public transit late at night. Another layer to this issue is the strain on policing and justice systems. Officers are often stretched thin, and court cases can take years to resolve, leaving victims feeling ignored and perpetrators emboldened. The sense of accountability weakens, and everyday citizens are left carrying the burden of vigilance. This erosion of safety affects more than just peace of mind, it shapes decisions about where people choose to live and raise families. Other countries, offering not only affordable living but also communities where safety feels stronger, suddenly appear more desirable. Imagine relocating to a place where children can play outside freely and neighbors watch out for one another. At its heart, safety is a basic human need. When Canadians feel this foundation is cracking, even if crime rates remain moderate, the psychological weight becomes enough to spark action. For many, the dream of security is worth moving for, and the search for a safer, calmer life abroad grows stronger with each troubling headline. Number 6. Harsh winters and climate. For many Canadians, the climate is more than just small talk, it's one of the hardest parts of daily life. While Canada is known for its natural beauty, the reality of harsh winters drives countless people to consider leaving the country altogether. 6 months of freezing temperatures, heavy snow, and icy roads can wear down even the most resilient spirits. In much of the country, winter means waking up in darkness, bundling up in layers, and battling -30-degree weather just to get to work. Snowstorms can paralyze entire cities, cancel flights, and keep families trapped indoors for days. For those who commute, icy roads and constant shoveling become an exhausting routine. The sheer effort required just to get through a typical winter day leaves many people longing for a different lifestyle. The lack of sunlight during long winters also affects mental health. Seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is a common struggle, leaving many Canadians feeling drained, isolated, and depressed. The endless gray skies and short days contribute to a sense of fatigue that lingers for months. For individuals already dealing with stress, the weather can feel like an added weight that never lifts. Beyond the physical discomfort, harsh winters also carry financial costs. Heating bills rise sharply, snow tires and winter gear become yearly expenses, and damages from storms or freezing pipes add up quickly. Families often feel they are paying more and enjoying less, trapped indoors instead of experiencing an active lifestyle. This is why warmer destinations hold so much appeal. Countries with sunshine year-round and mild climates offer not only comfort but also improved mental health and lower living costs tied to weather. Imagine trading icy commutes for walks on the beach, or snow shovels for palm trees. For many Canadians, it's not about rejecting their homeland, but about embracing a climate that supports their well-being. Weather shapes everyday life, and when each year feels like a battle against snow and darkness, the temptation to move somewhere brighter becomes irresistible. The climate itself becomes one of the most powerful reasons for seeking a new beginning abroad. Number 5. Job market pressures. Another reason why millions of Canadians are quietly leaving is the reality of job market pressures. While Canada is often described as a land of opportunity, the truth for many workers is very different. High levels of underemployment, stagnant wages, and limited career growth have left many professionals feeling trapped and undervalued. For young graduates, the struggle begins early. Despite investing years in education and often carrying student debt, many enter a market where high-paying positions are scarce. Instead, they are offered part-time contracts, temporary gigs, or roles far below their qualifications. Imagine completing a degree in engineering only to find yourself working retail just to cover rent. This disconnect between education and opportunity has left many feeling disillusioned. Even established professionals face challenges. Wages in Canada often fail to compete with what similar roles pay in countries like the United States, Australia, or parts of Europe. A nurse, software engineer, or skilled tradesperson can often earn significantly more abroad, with better benefits and faster career advancement. Over time, this wage gap makes leaving Canada a financially logical decision. The issue extends to entrepreneurship as well. Small business owners often find themselves buried under red tape, high taxes, and rising operating costs. Starting and growing a business in Canada can feel like an uphill battle compared to other nations where regulations are simpler and incentives are stronger. Another factor is job security. The rise of automation, outsourcing, and unstable contracts leaves many workers anxious about the future. Without the promise of stability, planning for a home, a family, or retirement becomes incredibly difficult. Countries that actively recruit skilled workers, offering higher pay, streamlined immigration, and clear career pathways, look increasingly attractive. For many Canadians, moving abroad is not abandoning opportunity, but rather chasing it where it actually exists. Work is more than just a paycheck, it's about dignity, growth, and purpose. When people feel their skills are undervalued or their potential is wasted, the pull of a stronger job market elsewhere becomes impossible to ignore. That quiet search for a better future is why so many Canadians are considering careers beyond their borders. Number 4. Healthcare struggles. Canada is often praised for its universal healthcare system, but behind the pride lies a growing reality, serious struggles that are driving many Canadians to look elsewhere. The promise of free healthcare sounds reassuring, yet for countless people, the experience is one of endless waiting and limited access to critical care. One of the most common complaints is wait times. Patients can spend months waiting for surgeries, diagnostic tests, or even routine appointments. For something as simple as seeing a family doctor, many Canadians face delays of weeks or even months. In some regions, finding a permanent family doctor feels nearly impossible, leaving patients bouncing between walk-in clinics and emergency rooms. Consider someone in pain, told to wait a year for hip surgery, or a parent waiting months to get their child into a specialist's office. While care may eventually arrive, the quality of life during that waiting period often suffers. For those with urgent or chronic conditions, the system can feel more like a barrier than a safety net. Another challenge is overcrowded hospitals. Emergency rooms are frequently backed up, with patients waiting hours, or sometimes days, for treatment. Healthcare workers themselves are burning out under the pressure, leading to staffing shortages and even fewer available services. This has led many Canadians to explore medical tourism. Countries such as Mexico, Thailand, or even the United States offer faster access to treatment, sometimes at costs that rival the expenses of staying in Canada while waiting. For those with financial means, leaving the country for healthcare isn't just an option, it becomes a necessity. The frustration comes from the gap between expectation and reality. Canadians pay high taxes to support the system, yet the care they receive often falls short of their needs. This imbalance leaves many wondering whether the trade-off is worth it. Ultimately, healthcare is not just about survival, it's about dignity and security. When people feel their health is at risk because the system cannot deliver in time, the decision to move abroad becomes easier. For some, it's not about better weather or lower costs, but simply about getting the care they deserve. Number 3, high taxes. Another powerful reason why millions of Canadians are quietly leaving is the heavy weight of high taxes. Canada is often celebrated for its social programs, but behind those services lies one of the highest tax burdens among developed nations. For many, it feels like they are constantly working, only to watch a large portion of their income vanish before it ever reaches their pockets. Every paycheck tells the story. Between income tax, sales tax, property tax, and countless hidden fees, Canadians often feel squeezed from every angle. For middle-class workers, the combined tax load can swallow up nearly half of what they earn. While the promise is that these contributions go toward healthcare, education, and infrastructure, many feel the return on their investment is shrinking. Picture this: long wait times in hospitals, underfunded schools, and deteriorating public services. People begin to ask, if I'm paying so much, why am I still waiting 6 months to see a specialist? This disconnect between what Canadians give and what they get back is fueling frustration and disappointment. For entrepreneurs and small business owners, the pressure can feel even heavier. High corporate taxes and operating costs make it challenging to compete globally. Many business-minded Canadians look to other countries with lower tax rates and fewer bureaucratic hurdles, where their efforts and innovations can thrive with greater reward. Even day-to-day purchases reflect this reality. A quick shopping trip reveals sales tax rates that climb as high as 15% in some provinces, turning everyday essentials into expensive luxuries. Over time, these constant deductions add up, making life less affordable and leaving families with fewer opportunities to save or travel. In contrast, countries with lower tax systems suddenly appear appealing. Imagine keeping more of your paycheck, being able to invest, travel, or simply breathe easier without the constant worry of deductions. For many, the idea of financial freedom isn't tied to higher wages, but to lower taxes. When hard work doesn't feel rewarded, and when sacrifice doesn't lead to stability, it's no surprise that Canadians are considering life elsewhere. High taxes have become more than a financial issue, they've become a reason to seek a fairer future abroad. Number 2, housing crisis. If there's one issue that has reached a breaking point in Canada, it's the housing crisis. For many Canadians, the dream of owning a home has shifted from being a milestone of adulthood to an almost impossible fantasy. Prices have skyrocketed to historic highs, leaving even middle-class families feeling completely locked out of the market. In cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and even smaller hubs such as Ottawa and Halifax, the price of a modest single-family home can climb past the $1 million mark. For young professionals and new families, this figure feels entirely unachievable. Even those with good jobs and steady incomes discover that after factoring in taxes, student loans, and daily expenses, saving enough for a down payment is nearly out of reach. Renting, which was once considered a manageable alternative, is no longer a safe haven either. The average cost of renting a simple one-bedroom apartment in urban centers now rivals the cost of a mortgage. With landlords passing on higher interest rates to tenants, many renters are spending more than half of their monthly income just to keep a roof over their heads. This housing pressure has ripple effects. People delay starting families, abandon long-term savings goals, or move far outside the city, where commutes eat away at both time and energy. The simple act of having a secure place to live, something that should feel basic and attainable, has become a source of stress and despair. It's no wonder that Canadians are quietly exploring other destinations. Countries where housing is more accessible, whether through lower purchase prices or affordable rental markets, suddenly look like more attractive options. Imagine trading a cramped apartment in Vancouver for a spacious home overseas, without carrying the weight of endless debt. At its core, the housing crisis is more than a financial challenge. It's a challenge to people's hopes, stability, and sense of belonging. When a safe home feels out of reach, the very foundation of life begins to crumble, and for many Canadians, that's the final push to look beyond their borders for a fresh start. Number 1. Soaring cost of living. One of the biggest reasons millions of Canadians are quietly leaving is the overwhelming cost of living. What was once a country admired for its balance between opportunity and comfort is now becoming a place where daily survival feels like a challenge. Families across the nation are noticing that their paychecks don't stretch the way they used to. Take a trip to the grocery store, and the difference is impossible to ignore. The price of basic essentials such as milk, bread, eggs, and fresh produce has surged to levels many households struggle to keep up with. Imagine paying $8 for a single loaf of bread or over $10 for a carton of eggs. These aren't luxury items, these are the basics people need every single day. It doesn't stop at groceries. Utilities, transportation, and even children's school supplies have all climbed in price, squeezing families further. Many Canadians are working longer hours or even multiple jobs just to stay afloat. Yet despite these sacrifices, they find themselves falling behind month after month. This pressure is particularly severe in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, where the cost of daily life is among the highest in the country. Renters and homeowners alike are forced to make tough choices, cutting back on healthy food, delaying medical care, or sacrificing leisure activities, all in the name of survival. For some, this constant struggle has led to a difficult but clear decision: look elsewhere. Countries with lower living costs, more affordable groceries, and reduced household expenses suddenly appear attractive. Families realize they can live more comfortably, save for the future, and give their children better opportunities by moving abroad. The cost of living isn't just about numbers on a receipt, it's about quality of life. When families feel they're working harder but enjoying less, the dream of a stable life in Canada begins to fade. This invisible weight, carried quietly in kitchens and living rooms across the country, is one of the strongest forces pushing Canadians to start fresh in other lands. The story of why millions of Canadians are leaving is not about abandoning a country, but about searching for a life that feels sustainable, secure, and fulfilling. From the crushing cost of living and housing crisis, to healthcare struggles, job market challenges, and even the weight of political tensions, these reasons reveal a deeper truth: people are chasing dignity, opportunity, and balance. For some, that means leaving behind long winters and endless bills for warmer climates, better pay, and stronger communities abroad. Yet this quiet exodus also raises an important question: what does it say about Canada's future if so many feel they must leave to find hope? Whether you see these choices as survival, ambition, or disappointment, one thing is clear: the dream of a better life is powerful enough to push people beyond borders. The question is, would you stay, or would you go?